The Xenon Education Exchange satellite was a beacon of collaboration, a symbol of what the galaxy could accomplish when species from all corners of the universe came together to learn. In one corner of the vast high-tech classroom, a human boy sat quietly, an anomaly among his peers. His name was Jox, and he hailed from a small, unassuming planet known as Earth. The other students, beings from worlds light years away, were a striking array of shapes and forms: tentacles, armored carapaces, and thick pelts of fur. But there was Jox, with his simple data slate, his old-fashioned tools in stark contrast to the glimmering, neural-connected devices of his classmates. Zilla, from the high-gravity world of Ortega, couldn't resist the urge to mock him. To her, humans were weak and slow. They had no physical presence or advanced intellect to speak of, just soft, pink creatures. She thought they had no business in space, and the sight of Jox struggling with basic calculations amused her. During a lesson on stellar cartography, Jox made a small mistake in his trajectory calculations. Zilla burst into a loud, guttural laugh. The other students joined in, snickering at his apparent inability to match their superior technology. She flicked a thick, four-fingered hand toward his screen, as if to dismiss him completely. "Look at the primitive," she seemed to say. "They have to do everything manually. Is it any wonder they made it to space at all?" Jox didn't look up. He simply deleted the flawed calculation and began again, undeterred. His persistence only fueled Zilla's laughter. The energy-being instructor, a being of pure light, flickered with faint irritation but chose to remain silent. The galaxy had its assumptions about humanity: newcomers, emotionally driven but intellectually unremarkable. They were tolerated, nothing more, barely worth notice. To the other students, humans were akin to pet seeker, but simple. Zilla, still amused, continued to watch Jox, not knowing that in mere hours it would be the human boy who would save them all. A few days later, the class took a field trip to observe a binary star system from an observation platform. The view was breathtaking. Two suns swirling together in an eternal dance, their energies illuminating the deep void of space. For Zilla, it was routine and opportunity to collect data for her own research log. She barely spared a glance at Jox, still hunched over his manual tools, painstakingly entering calculations at a pace that seemed glacial by galactic standards. But then the alarm blared. A wave of violent coronal mass ejections, invisible to the automated sensors of the station, were hurtling toward them. The platform, designed for stability and observation, not combat, struggled to keep up. A direct hit from the first wave would disable their shields and leave them vulnerable, helpless in the vastness of space. Panic swept through the platform. The instructor's energy form shimmered erratically as it attempted to regain composure. Zilla's confident bravado faltered for the first time in her life. The other students, their advanced neural interfaces overloaded by chaotic energy readings, froze. Brilliant minds, overwhelmed by the unpredictability of a star's fury, could offer no solutions. They were used to solving ordered problems, not the raw, violent chaos of nature. Amidst the panic, a calm voice cut through. Jox. He was already at an engineering station, his fingers flying over an ancient keypad. He wasn't attempting to process the overwhelming data. Instead, he was searching for a different answer, something his classmates hadn't thought to look for. He had seen the pattern. A small gap in the incoming wave that the automated systems couldn't identify because it wasn't part of their programming to look for anomalies. Jox was calculating a single desperate maneuver. "Listen to me?" His voice was steady, unwavering. His eyes remained locked on the screen, the image of the space station reducing to a manageable geometry problem. "I can get us through, but I need control of the thrusters now." The class, still stunned, finally began to realize what had just happened. The human boy, the one they had all laughed at, was the only one who seemed to have an answer. Zilla, her usual dismissive attitude completely gone, found herself staring at Jox with new eyes. He no longer seemed like a soft, slow human. He was focused, a predator calculating his move, determined to survive. Jox's plan was audacious. He intended to use the station's weak maneuvering thrusters, timing a lateral roll that would present the smallest possible profile to the oncoming wave. By doing so, they could slip through the gap in the wave he had found. It required perfect timing and a deep understanding of momentum, something no computer could calculate. It required intuition. The instructor, now barely a coherent form, transferred control to Jox. The station lurched violently as it shifted into position. Zilla braced herself against the restraints, her heart racing. Through the viewport, the wave of fire approached, a hellish orange tide that seemed to stretch forever. It was coming for them. The station began to roll, slowly at first like a swimmer turning in deep water. For a brief, agonizing moment, the wave seemed to fill the entire universe with light. Then it was gone. They had slipped through. The alarms fell silent. Systems hummed back to life, the soft sound of relief replacing the frantic blaring. Jocks let out a long breath, his face pale but calm. He had done the impossible. The silence that followed was profound. The other students, still shaken, couldn't tear their eyes away from him. The mockery, the laughter, it had all been burned away by the stellar fire. They now saw Jocks for who he truly was. Not a primitive, but a hero. The one who had acted when they all froze. Zilla felt a hot wave of shame wash over her. She remembered her laughter, her dismissive gestures, and how she had belittled someone capable of such clarity under pressure. Her people prided themselves on courage, but this was something else. This was courage born not of brute strength, but of a deep, stubborn refusal to accept defeat. The courage to try the impossible. As a rescue ship arrived, its crew buzzing with questions, Jocks' simple data slate, an outdated tool by galactic standards, became the most valuable record of the whole event. The logs of the station's automated systems showed failure. The readings were chaotic. Only Jocks' manual calculations had saved them. When the rescue crew asked who had been responsible, the other students, still in awe, all pointed to Jocks, the human boy from the insignificant world of Earth. The news spread across the galaxy, and the headlines shouted in disbelief. A human saves an entire class of the galaxy's brightest minds using tools considered obsolete. The laughter that had once followed Jocks was now a question. What else had they missed about humanity? In the weeks that followed, Jocks became a legend, invited to speak at conferences across the galaxy. But he always deflected the praise, humbly insisting he had just done what anyone from his world would do. His refusal to accept the spotlight only deepened the mystery. The galaxy began to study Earth with new eyes. They examined human history, art, music, and soon realized that humans were survivors. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but their persistence, creativity, and illogical will to live had allowed them to thrive against all odds. Zilla, feeling the weight of her earlier mistakes, sought out Jocks one day, finding him quietly gazing at the stars. She approached him, her footsteps hesitant. When he turned to face her, she offered a small, uncertain smile. "I was wrong about you," she said, her voice lacking its usual pride. "I laughed. About all of you." Jocks smiled back, his expression kind. "You don't have to be sorry," he said. "We're used to it. We're the new kids. We know we don't look like much. But history taught us something important. The biggest problems don't always have the most complicated solutions. Sometimes you just have to roll with it." And in that moment, Zilla understood. The galaxy had learned a profound truth. It wasn't about superior technology or physical strength. It was about the spirit inside the fragile pink beings from a small blue planet. The spirit to face annihilation and refuse to freeze, to look for a way out. Humanity wasn't just along for the ride. They were here to stay.